This drink carries all the familiar signals: the bamboo whisk, the vivid green powder, the careful pour. It looks Japanese. It tastes like the matcha millions of people now order every day. But the powder in this cup may not have come from Japan at all. It may have come from China, now, by some industry estimates, the world's largest matcha producer. That raises a simple question. If China is making most of the powder, is Japan losing one of its most recognizable products? To find out, we have to follow this cup backwards, from the cafe to the factory, and finally to the tea field. Matcha has moved far beyond the tea room. Its color photographs well. Its flavor works in sweet drinks. And social media turned the preparation itself into a performance. In the United States, retail sales rose 86% in 3 years, according to figures reported by the Associated Press. Japanese suppliers responded with higher prices and, in some shops, limits on how much customers could buy. But this was not simply a packaging shortage. The constraint began much earlier, in fields that cannot be expanded overnight, and with a type of leaf that has to be grown and processed differently from ordinary green tea. Japanese producers now face a choice: chase demand quickly or protect the quality that created it. Matcha begins before the harvest. Tea plants are shaded, changing how the leaves develop and helping create the color and savory character valued in the cup. After picking, the leaves are steamed and dried without the rolling used for many other Japanese teas. Stems and veins are removed. What remains is tencha, the raw material for matcha. Only then is it ground into a fine powder. The process must control heat because too much of it can damage color and aroma. This is why producers cannot solve a shortage by grinding more ordinary tea. The field's harvest schedule and processing capacity must expand together. Japan is investing, but an aging workforce and cautious farmers make rapid conversion difficult. More than 2,000 kilometers from Uji, producers in China's Guizhou province saw the same global demand and built a different response. Around Tongren, matcha is being developed as an industrial cluster. Shaded fields feed larger processing facilities. Automation improves consistency. Export networks connect the powder to beverage and food companies that need predictable quantities and prices. China is also building demand at home instead of relying only on exports. Local government reporting says Tongren produced and sold about 2,500 tons in 2025, exporting more than half. Across China, an industry report puts total 2025 output above 12,000 tons. Published estimates disagree on the exact world share, ranging from roughly 60 to 70%. These are industry estimates, not a complete global census. But they show how quickly the center of production has shifted. At this point, the story appears to be about China copying a Japanese success. History makes it more complicated. Tea, utensils, and powdered tea customs traveled from China to Japan with Buddhist monks. The Uji tradition is commonly traced to 1191, when the monk Aisai returned from Song, China. Japan then transformed that inheritance. Over centuries, it refined shaded cultivation, tencha production, and chanoyu, the tea ceremony. Practices that faded from the Chinese mainstream were preserved and developed into the matcha the world now recognizes as Japanese. The tradition crossed the sea once before. What is moving back towards China today is not only a drink, but a global industry built around the Japanese version of it. So is Chinese matcha the same product? China has a national matcha standard, and some producers use genuine shading and tencha-style processing. Scientific studies also find meaningful differences between Chinese growing regions. That suggests country alone is a poor quality test. For the consumer, 3 questions are more useful. Where were the leaves grown? How were they cultivated and processed? And was the powder designed for drinking on its own, or for disappearing into milk, sugar, and other ingredients? Cultivar, harvest, shading, storage, and grinding all affect the result. Freshness matters too. Light, heat, and oxygen can quickly flatten color and aroma. There is inexpensive Chinese matcha and increasingly ambitious Chinese matcha. Japan also sells a range of qualities. The fair comparison is packet against packet, not flag against flag. The takeover question becomes clearer when we separate 2 businesses hiding under the same name. The first sells volume. Cafes and food manufacturers want dependable color, flavor, price, and supply. China has the land, machinery, and industrial networks to compete aggressively here. The second sells distinction. For premium drinking matcha, buyers care about origin, cultivar, freshness, texture, and the reputation of the producer. Japan, especially established regions such as Uji, still holds enormous cultural authority. China can therefore lead in kilograms without replacing Japan's influence. Volume, value, and prestige are different scoreboards, and the same cup can sit somewhere between them. Japan is supporting more tencha production and new machinery. It wants to more than double tea export value by 2030, while keeping premium matcha from competing only on price. So, is China taking over the world's matcha market? By volume, it may already be the biggest producer. More of the matcha used in lattes, snacks, and packaged drinks is likely to come from China, whether consumers notice or not. But production volume is not ownership. Japan still defines much of matcha's premium image, specialized craft, and cultural meaning. The future is unlikely to have one winner. China is scaling matcha into a global ingredient. Japan is trying to protect the part of matcha for which origin and tradition still command a premium. And for the person buying that first cup, the most revealing detail may no longer be the word matcha. It may be the smaller words printed underneath it. When you buy matcha, do you check where it was grown? Or does taste matter more? Tell us in the comments. So there you have it. That's what it turns out to be. If this answered a question you didn't know you had, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you liked it, tap that like button. Turns out, it actually helps a lot.